going to talk about here, this might be a huge rant, but just bear with me and please listen to me for 2 seconds. So first of all, as many people know, I was in the mental hospital back in 2016, a mental hospital for young people. And it's called Cherry Orchard. It was in Dublin. And this hospital is the only hospital in the country that deals with with young people's mental health problems. And it only has a few beds. And I mean, it's only 2 wards. And I'm telling you this, and I'm going to tell you very, very straight. I don't blame the staff for this. I blame the government. I blame Simon Harris for this. And I kept it in for so long, and I told TDs, and I told senators, and I told God knows how many ministers in government, and God knows how many emails I sent off about it when I got out of that place. It wasn't the staff's fault, it was the government's fault. They built this big facility. The cost, God knows how much it cost to build, first of all, which is okay, because it was very modern, which is great, and it's very colourful and everything. That I don't have a problem with that. But I have a problem with the staff not being paid. Literally getting more, as one of them said to me, you get more if you're on the door. If you sat at home doing nothing, you get more than if you went in and done a day's work. And these work from 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. Some of them even had to work from 8 a.m. to 12 a.m. midnight because they didn't have the staff. They had no staff. Half of the staff when I was there, and I tell you this, Simon Harris, and explain this over the last few years, and there's the same crack every year in this hospital, that you close beds. And I use the word, you close one ward every year nearly in Cherry Orchard. I remember you closing it, and maybe not last year, but the other year before you closed it, because you didn't have the staff. And I seen it myself, and the way people might not have a voice in that area to speak up against the agency and speak up against this government. But my God, I'm going to use my voice. And so long I told you, that this is going to blow up. This will blow up in our faces if you don't fund this properly. Because every week we stand around debating and talking about this. You know, people's lives are going. And people's lives are, unfortunately, people are taking their own lives. And every time this is not really up for debate. It's up for action. Simple as, like, the only thing I was asking for, at the time I went up and asked senators this, that, and about this, I was like, we need more of these hospitals, so we need more of them. We need 2 or 3 more of them in this country for young people. And the queues for this hospital, I was put ahead of the list. In other words, the only reason why, and I tell you why, and even my doctors would say, and even the consultants in Carrington Hospital would say, they thought it was that serious that it needed to be put in right now and right then. That's how serious they thought I was. That's how serious I was back then, and that's how seriously bad I was in mentally. That one of the main hospital, the only hospital for young people in Ireland, they thought it was that bad to put me into it, so they had to, discharge somebody because they thought it was that bad. And I still have some regrets over that, but I know myself it's not my fault. It was, it was out of my hands at that time. But the thing is, the waiting list is nearly 7 months for that hospital. 7 months. And I tell you this, Minister, I don't even want to imagine. I don't even want to think about how many poor young lives have been lost waiting on that waiting list. I don't even want to even think about that. It heartbreaks anybody to take 7 months for some young person to wait to go into this hospital. That's state of the art, that has a school, that has everything there to help them rehabilitate into society. But you didn't fund it. You never give the staff anything. You work the staff to death. Like, some of the staff had to do caretaking job. Some of them are trained nurses and trained professionals. Had to go around and clean up. Because they didn't have the caretakers. The caretakers weren't getting anything. They were more or less getting minimum wage. And they were working, God knows, worked long hours. Long hours. And then you close these wards during the summer. Like, I don't know how the Minister for Health can look in these... I really don't know how. And the same with waiting lists for CAMS. And I'm going to talk about CAMS for a second. I know they're amazing people in CAMS, but I'm not blaming them. Please, everybody understand that. I don't blame them. I blame the government. There's nobody working mental health facilities anymore. The only reason why they're going off to Australia, Saudi Arabia, other countries, because they get far better pay and far better treatment. You were treating people in CAMS like they're second-class citizens, and you go into the asylum sector down the road in Monaghan, they get treated far better than the people who go into CAMs or the people who work in CAMs. And that's as simple as that. Charlie Flanagan proved me wrong. Because my God, some people, I don't even want to describe in some counties how long the waiting lists are for CAMs. I don't even want to describe how long in some counties. In Cavan it's 5 months before you could see any of them. 5 months. And that's with the extra funding that me and other county councillors, and I thank them again, I'm very grateful for them, that time going up to the government, the minister, the Department of Health, and saying to them, this is nearly in December, we went to the minister, we went to the Department of Health, and we asked, can we have a tiny bit extra funding for mental health services in Cavan? And we got it, we got 200 and something, 250k or something like that, or something like that, I can't remember. But it was a good bit of money, and that money's coming in use for now. That money's coming in use. That's been put into good use, whatever's left of it has been put into good use. For on your online services and everything, that's been put into good use. But there's just the thing that we had to go looking for it. We shouldn't have to go looking for it. None of the members of Cavan or county councils should have to go looking from the Department of Health for funding. We shouldn't have to go. We shouldn't have to go looking. Simple as that. And that's my point. We shouldn't have to. You should know. You should see. And then I have a problem. And the other problem I have, how come you are getting 8,000 extra? You are getting 8,000 extra this year, members of the government. Some people have handed their money back. But how can you get 8,000 extra when you can't fund people saving people's lives? I just can't understand that. And if anybody can understand it, please tell me, because my God, man, you get enough as it is. You don't need 8,000 extra. It's not like you're all in debt. You just get more than half the population of Ireland, for God's sake. The people who should be getting is the people on the front line, not the people sitting on the big fat houses in Dáil shining off to themselves every so often, then maybe sometimes moving around to get a photo too when the election comes up. But you don't do anything else. You just really, really don't do anything else. And I've done my best. For so long, the ways met the health issues and everything, and every time I spoke about it, the TDs and to ministers, and we're not really in Cavan. I can say this for TDs and senators and county councillors in Cavan. Every one of them listened to me, and they listened to me, and they done their best. Like that time I was talking about funding, the county councillors listened to me. They listened to me, and they listened to other people that were concerned about it and wanted more funding, and they listened, and we done something. And I just go to say, it's not the problem, like in Cavan we want something done. Simple as that, and we're very determined, our county councils, because we're all united on this. But it's just the high-ups in Dublin that don't give a damn. They just couldn't give a damn. And it's simple as that, you could see this, like the time we went and asked, we more or less were treated like criminals going asking the Department of Health for extra money. And we got it, but we felt like criminals nearly going in and asking. And we shouldn't have asked in the first place, and that was said in the Cavan County Council Chambers, that we shouldn't even have to go and ask. They should know to fund it, and they give as much funding as they need. But we had to go and ask. Like, that's the biggest thing. They should have a bit of a brain in the Department of Health. They go to college and everything, they're not stupid. And I can't even describe. The pain and suffering that people are going through. And one more thing, on the topic of trying to pay nurses for mental health facilities and things like that. How in the name of God, and somebody in the government answered this to me, because I asked over the last few months, how did you buy a 1.9 million printer and you don't use it? You knock down walls to even put it in. And you don't use it. You're just great. You're absolutely just brilliant. And that could have went towards mental health. That would have been something. To go towards. It might not have done all the tricks, but it would have done something to help people in the most desperate part of their life. But no, we also had the bright idea to go and buy a printer that you don't even fucking use. Like, it's just no logic. Like, I don't know where your logic is, and I don't know what kind of government you think you are, or what. Because you're certainly not a people's government. And I say that straight to you. You're certainly not, I don't know what, you must be some banker government. And that's the word I'm using, banker government, or bondholders, or fudger funds. That's the word, fudger funds government. For the fudger funds, not for anybody else. The taxpayer can go jump the lake, in your opinions. It's for the vulture funds. And I'm saying to people, I can't stress this enough. There's more people dying of suicide in this country now than there is of the coronavirus. And I say, and I bet you any money that's what's happening. It's heartbreaking to say it. It's hard to admit. It's hard to even think that so many people are taking lives. But it's the thing that it wasn't funded for so long. It was left abandoned. Like as I said, 5 months. Some counties wait a year to see one person to see CAMs. To even get an appointment for CAMs, it takes a year. In some counties, in Cork and Kerry, it takes a year. A year! And you just think about all the poor lives that have been lost. And it's just you have to be made out of stone, not to cry and not to see how much heartbreak this has brought on people's lives. You have to be made out of stone, and I don't know how these politicians can sleep at night. I really don't know how, and I don't know how they can say that they get 8,000 euro extra this year. I don't know. To me, I would rather turn my grave than take that money. Simple as that. I would rather turn my grave because you get far too much as it is. 94,000 euros, a lot of money. And then add 8,000, that's over 100,000 a year. That's far, far, far too much of a wage. And then half the nurses barely get, more or less nearly would rather get minimum wage than what they're getting. And it's just unacceptable. We are a developed country. We're not an African country, and we're developed. We're developed. We're supposed to be a developed country. A third world country. What's this? A developed country, not third world. I'm mixing myself up. You see how upset I'm getting now when I'm mixing myself up. And I'm just saying we can't let this happen anymore. And we have to do something when all this is over. We have to push the government no matter what. If it bankrupts the country, and if we can save people's lives, because that's the main thing. Stopping families from losing their loved ones. And taking young people's lives so early, and it's a senseless waste of life. It's just a senseless, and so much could have been done to stop many suicides in this country. So much could have been done. As I said about the waiting list, so many could have been saved. But we chose to be greedy, and we chose, as governments, as governments have chose just to take the money for themselves. Simple as. Thank you.